Hello all, welcome back to ClearIAS Academy. So today we'll be having a question paper analysis with respect to two subjects, that is economy and environment ecology. So yesterday the prelims 2024 was actually over. There are a number of opinions, number of suggestions, advices from many aspirants, faculties, and the civil service fraternity around regarding the question paper, heated discussions, whatever. Okay, so today I'll be actually dealing with a few number of questions that actually came up from economic and also from the environment and ecology part. And we'll be discussing the answers in a very brief time. Okay, so let's move on to the first part, that is the environment and ecology part. So unlike many previous years, generally the perception is that since the prelims is also the preliminary, the UPSC preliminary is for the Indian Forest Service as well, which has a separate names exam. And every time there is a predominance of ecology at par with other subjects or other main subjects like polity, history, economy, and geography. But this time, there are a very few number of questions with respect to ecology and environment. And most of them are not very easy. Yes, most of the questions are actually have a backing from the basics. For example, biotic interactions, mutual interaction between organisms. Such basics are actually there, but at the same time, the questions are actually more of a factual type. Specific questions that have a repetition pattern, a kind of a repetition pattern, not exactly the same, but a kind of a repetition pattern that from previous prelims. So we'll check each question one by one. Okay. So first we'll move on to environmental ecology. The first question, with reference to perfluoroalkyl and polyfluoroalkyl substances that are used in making many consumer products, consider the following sequence. Okay, so this is the first question, perfluoroalkyl and polyfluoroalkyl substances. A similar question was asked before as well. Not exactly the same, but a similar question was asked regarding pesticides in use. Okay, so the question was, in India, the use of carbofuran, methyl parathion, folate, and thiosulfose is used with application. These chemicals are used as option A, pesticides in agriculture, preservatives in processed foods, option C, fruit ripening agents, option D, moisturizing agent in cosmetics. So a similar kind of a question, a chemical that is actually harmful to the environment. That is the underlying crux. So on the same topic or same thing, we have a repeated question, that is with reference to perfluoroalkyl and polyfluoroalkyl substances. So first statement, PFAs are found to be widespread in drinking water, food, and food packaging materials. Yes, they should be there. Obviously, they should be there. That is why they are actually in use. So that is the logic here. Okay. So the only question here is whether it is present in all these. If it is present in drinking water, it is food, then there it could be present in food packaging materials, because that could actually be leaching through the food packaging materials. PFAs are not easily degraded in the environment. If we have read about persistent organic pollutants, PFAs are actually a kind of persistent organic pollutant, and they are not easily degraded in the environment. So second statement is also correct. Persistent exposure to PFAs can lead to bioaccumulation in animal bodies. Why not? Again, there is a exposure to a chemical, a harmful chemical. So obviously there should be a chance for bioaccumulation. So all these statements should be correct, and the correct answer is 1, 2, and 3. A very, very easy question. Okay, don't go into too much overthinking over those alternate options. No, very simple question. Just directly answer the question. Third statement is obviously correct because there is a high chance of bioaccumulation. And perfluoroalkyl and polyfluoroalkyl substances that are used in making many consumer products. It is given in the question. It's used in many consumer products. And obviously, the second statement is actually pointing to a degradation interval. Then third statement, bioaccumulation. There is a connection in all this. Bioaccumulation through food, water, food packaging materials can also contain that. Thereby, it is reaching the body. Thereby, it is harmful to the environment. Thereby, also as a part of this, there is bioaccumulation. So these three statements are very, very correct, or very, very connected. So these three are correct. The answer is 1, 2, and 3. So this is a very simple question. You should not have missed. Pure logical answering, even if you don't know about polyfluoroalkyl substances and perfluoroalkyl substances. There is no alternative option for you to make this wrong. It is better for you to leave this question than make it wrong. But the best option is to get this answer correct. There is no other option. Even leaving the question is dangerous as far as I am concerned. Okay. So the next question, consider the following therapeutic details, centipedes, flies, termites, wasps. Parasite species are found in how many of the above kinds of organisms? In how many of the above kind of organisms there are certain kinds of parasites? So carabid beetles, yes. Certain beetles are kind of parasites, yes. Centipedes, no. Centipedes are not actually in the group of parasites. Recently, there was many news with respect to centipedes being eaten by people, but a parasite inside the centipede is actually converted into a parasite inside the human body. That was the news. A certain kind of parasite that was present inside the centipede was actually being converted into a parasite into the human body. Centipede itself is not a parasite, so centipedes here we can eliminate. Then flies. Yes, many number of flies are actually many kinds of flies among the different kinds of organisms of flies or species of flies are actually parasites. Very, very simple. Then termites and wasps. Wasp and termite. This is the next thing. Termite, as you may know, they're actually found in wood and many things. They are not actually a parasitic animal. No. Termite is a specific organism. There are not many kinds of that. They are actually not a parasitic organism. And wasp is a classic example of a parasitic organism. Wasp. Wasps, many kinds of wasps actually lays eggs. They are eggs in the body of other organisms, where the eggs actually are blown by absorbing the nutrients from that host animal, eventually leading to the death of that host animal. So wasp is a classic example of a parasitoid organism. Again, look at how UPSC is asking questions. They are not directly moving into the concepts of environment. Parasitic interaction, mutualism, such interactions are not being directly asked. But at an application level, they are asking such questions. They are asking explicitly the animals which are actually belong to, or organisms which are belonging to a particular kind. Okay. So the next question would be, consider the following plants. Plants, groundnut, horse gram, soybean. Groundnut, horse gram, soybean. How many of the above belong to the pea family? Pea. Mostly pulses or leguminous ones. Mostly, not every time. But again, looking at this question, this is also a favorite area of UPSC. There is a previous question. Consider the following statements. Moringa drumstick is a leguminous evergreen tree. Leguminous evergreen tree. Tamarind tree is endemic to South Asia. In India, most of the tamarind is tolerated as the minor cross produced. India exports tamarind and seeds of moringa. Seeds of moringa and tamarind can be used in production of biofuels. Again, there was a reference to leguminous plants. So moringa was actually a leguminous plant. There was a previous question regarding leguminous. This time the question repeats. Groundnut, horse gram, soybean. Which of them actually belongs to the pea family or the leguminous plants family? Mostly leguminous and pulses family. The answer is all three. All three are actually belonging to the pea family. They are actually leguminous. Okay. Again, very simple question. Again, look at how UPSC is alternating the type of questions from the same topic. Leguminous plants or peas. Nitrogen fixing plants. Again, the topic stands tall, but the question is more specific regarding a particular plant or particular species. Okay. Consider the following statement. Next question. The Indian flying fox is placed under the vermin category in the Wildlife Protection Act 1972. Statement 2. The Indian flying fox feeds on the blood of other animals. Again, species. Ecology and environment is more, again, going back to species. One, there was an amendment of WPA recently. Wildlife Protection Act was amended recently, and many schedules were actually taken away. Schedule 5 was taken away. There is no category of Schedule 5 vermin under the WPA 1972 Act. And the second statement, Indian flying fox feeds on the blood of other animals. This potentially could be a controversial question because in this statement, the Indian flying fox is placed under the vermin category in the Wildlife Protection Act. Currently, there is no such category as vermin. There is no such category as vermin. So potentially this statement could be wrong, but at the same time, the second statement is automatically wrong. Because flying fox is actually misconceived as something who feeds on blood of other animals. Actually, they are frugivores, that is, they eat fruits only. They are actually misconceived as drinking blood from other animals. So second statement is altogether wrong. There is a slight discussion, slight debate on the first statement because currently the vermin category is not there, but we are pretty sure that the second statement is wrong. So the answer should be C. Statement 2 is incorrect, statement 1 is correct. There is no other option where statement 2 is definitely wrong. Okay, in all these A option, B option, and D option, we have statement 2 as correct. That cannot happen. So the obvious answer is C. Again, there is a debate in first statement, but still the best option is again what? C. Okay. The next question is the organism cicada, froghopper, and pond skater. Again, not a very easy question. It's much more of a factual thing. You should know all these things, but again, a repeated kind of question. UPSC has previously asked such a question. Mahasir dash and dash. Some Mahasir dash and dash belongs to which kind of species and ABCD. This was a previous question. Mahasir is actually a kind of fish. Okay, so froghopper, have you seen froghopper and pond skater? This I am actually familiar with these terms. Pond skater is actually a kind of insect. Okay, froghopper is also insect. Cicada again. This is the question is a very factual thing. If you know, you know. Only then you can answer this. Pond skater is actually familiar for me. Pond skater is actually an insect that lives on the first or the surface of water. They actually skate through the water. That is why they got the name pond skater. Okay. Okay, so the answer is C. Not a very easy question again, but a factual one. If you know, you know. Otherwise, it is better to leave this question than get this wrong. Okay, because getting a wrong means you are actually going back in the competition in a higher level because you are actually getting a negative. If you are leaving this, there is no negative. This is just 0. Okay. Then this question, consider the following statements. Many chewing gums found in the market are considered a source of environmental pollution. Statement 2, many chewing gums contains plastic as a gum base. This is the classic question of UPSC that actually pushes every aspirant to look around. It is a kind of a lifestyle kind of question, things that we see in our lifestyle. Okay, so chewing gum. Last time there was a question regarding something called gyrometer. If I remember correctly, it was regarding gyrometer. What are the applications of gyrometer? And the question was, if I remember correctly, it was gyrometer or gyroscope or something. The question was regarding in which of the following things gyrometer or something can be are used. The options were phones in detecting accidents, something like that. That thing was actually used by us in every day in some other applications, but the question was more of going back to what exactly it is. Okay, so this is basically an application of things we see around. Many chewing gums found in the market are considered a source of environmental pollution. That is because chewing gums actually contain some kind of plastic as a base, which is not harmful to humans, but at the same time, this could actually lead to leaching and entering of harmful chemicals into the environment. Not that chewing gums are purely safe for humans, but it is much more safer when it is chewed, but when it is thrown out, it could actually lead to environmental degradation. So the answer is A. Statement 2 correctly explains statement 1. Okay. So consider the following phrase: country, animal found in its natural habitat. In news, there is a question. There is many news regarding invasive species, alien species, native species. Yes, many news. But what UPSC has asked us, it has given three names of three animals, and it has given options where its natural habitat is found. First one, elk. Sorry, Intri. Intri is not found in Brazil. If you have watched the movie Madagascar, in the Madagascar there is an organism called lemur. Lemur. Lemur is actually Intri is actually a kind of lemur, and lemurs are endemic to Madagascar. They are found only in Madagascar. So the first one is obviously wrong. Then elk. Elk and Indonesia doesn't match. If you have watched what English web series and all, you might have seen that elk is actually an animal found in North America. It is actually an animal found in North America. Okay, not exactly Central America and Mexico and all. In such areas, this elk is actually found. If you have seen English series, many series, this thing is actually present as an animal. So this one again is wrong. And looking at the animal composition of Indonesia, more of an equatorial tropical country, elk like an animal is not actually found there. Okay, that is also a logic. And coming to bonobo, bonobo is actually a primate organism which is exclusively found in the Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo. So this one is also wrong. So the answer is all three. Sorry, none. Sorry, none. Answer is Delhi, D, none. Next question. Consider the following statements. Again, a statement regarding a particular organism. Previously, there was a question regarding elephants, the breeding breed of elephants or something like that. I think if I remember correctly, it was in 2020. It was specifically regarding elephants. Okay, so there is a repetition of a question or a similar question. At the same time, look at the question where it comes from. Big cats, leopard translocation in India that happened. Okay, Unopalpur National Park, where cheetahs were actually translocated to India. From this news comes. The first statement is lions do not have a particular breeding season. You might know, you might not know. Unlike most other big cats, cheetahs do not roar. This statement is what differentiates most cheetahs from the big cats. The ability to roar. Cheetahs can only chirp or purr. That is actually different from big cats. Unlike male lions, male leopards do not prolong their device in one. If you have seen videos of leopards or tigers or whatever, lions, big cats, they have a territory marked. It is not exclusive to lions or not exclusive to tigers. Even leopards, there's a territory marked. Okay, so this statement is actually wrong. And if you can get this third statement as wrong, the only option is A, 1 and 2. So even if you don't know first statement, you could actually get to the answer by elimination. Thanks to UPSC, they have brought back the elimination technique. Okay. Which one of the following shows a unique relationship with an insect that has co-evolved with it and that is only insect that can pollinate this? A very tricky question. A very factual question as well. If you know, you know. The answer here is big. The only way I figured out the answer is that again, this is not a very trustable logic, but still, insect means there should be a fruit. There's a chance that there's a fruit or flower, and fig is actually a fruit. That is why actually I moved to fig. Okay, the answer is fig. I'm talking about before I will actually search for the answer. I went to fig just simply because fig is a fruit. There is a natural tendency that insects and fruits could be attracted. The answer is fig, but this is not a very trustable logic. But somehow I got it correct. And after that, when I searched, Mahua also has some kind of fruits fig. Okay, so not very trustable, but I got it right simply by that. How many of the above have poisonous species having them? And the options given are butterflies, fish, frogs. Previously, there was a question regarding mushrooms, and the question was: consider the following statements. Some mushrooms have medicinal properties. Some mushrooms have psychoactive properties. Some mushrooms have insecticidal properties. Some mushrooms have what? Bioluminescent properties. This was a previous question. So the question here is how many of the above poisonous species among them? So this is a very simple question. There could be a poisonous butterfly. There could be a poisonous fish, there could be a poisonous frog. This is a very basic awareness that you get from around. How many of them above have poisonous fishes? The question is not that all frogs are poisonous, not whether all fish are not poisonous, or all butterflies are poisonous. The question is just how many of the above have poisonous species among them? A very, very simple question. The answer is all two. Okay. Then consider following. How many of the above trees are actually native to India? Very simple question. If you look at the question in a very simple way. Cashew and papaya. Look at the names. Cashew and papaya. And whenever we talk about history, whenever we talk about fruits or vegetables that are brought from outside, cashew and papaya obviously are there in the group. Okay. And in Kerala and all, some called cashew in the name of Portuguese. In the name of Portuguese, some people actually called cashew nut. Portuguese actually brought cashew nut here from Brazil. So cashew is actually native to Brazil. This is wrong. Papaya, again, was brought from outside. Papaya also was brought from outside. This is also wrong. Then red sandals. Pushpa. Have you watched the movie Pushpa? Pushparaj. In that also, red sandals is actually the main element of the movie. Okay, just like Chekhov's gun. Red sandals is the main element of that movie. Red sandals is actually endemic to Eastern Ghats. In the entire world, it is only found in Eastern Ghats. Very simple question. The answer is only one answer A. Okay. You can learn from movies as well. You can learn from movies as well. In that movie, it's said red sandals only found in Eastern Ghats. I think the first movie begins with showing Sheshachalam Hills in Andhra Pradesh, part of Eastern Ghats. Okay. So moving on to Indian economy. Indian economy questions were not explicitly easy, but most of them are easy. Most of them are easy. Not every question was easy, but still some logic could be applied to get to the answer. So let's move on to the questions. With reference to the Indian economy, collateral borrowing and lending obligations are the instruments of it. This is a very seemingly very difficult question, but from the term collateral borrowing, lending obligations. Collateral borrowing and lending obligations. Where do you borrow money with the collateral? From banks. The simplest thing you know is banks. And where do banks belong to? The money market. So this is the answer. Everything else could be eliminated. In forex market, is there a collateral? No. In bond market, is there a collateral? No. In stock market, is there a question of collateral? No. Even if there is a question, can money market be wrong? No. Money market is always started in the context of collateral borrowing and lending obligations. Even if you don't know what exactly is collateral borrowing and lending obligations, from the term you would actually move to the answer to money market, where banking loans actually belong. Simple question. Okay. Just apply your logic, your awareness of whatever you have learned. I'm not talking about knowledge. Knowledge and awareness is different things. Knowledge is the things you know. Awareness is the understanding of how to apply the same. Okay. Again, a very simple question. The total percentage rate in an economy is defined as. This question I have discussed in the economic geography class. This term I have discussed in the economic geography class. In the discussion regarding human development, the discussion regarding population, the discussion regarding population, everywhere I have discussed this topic, total fertility rate. And the answer here is very simple, it is D. The average number of live births a woman would have by the end of her childbearing age. And this determines the population of a place. TFR and replacement rate. This was also taken in the class by myself. So if you have visited our classes, if you have visited if you have gone through our YouTube classes, you might have come across this TFR. Very simple question. The question that has its roots to the discussion on census, political talks by many politicians regarding TFR rights of communities and all. Okay, so there was controversial speeches and all. This person actually has its origin in census discussions, in this political discussions and all. A very simple question. Just go back and read your economic geography, human geography. Okay. Then consider the following statements. In India, NBFCs can access the LAS. Again, a topic that was identified as the most important, one of the most important topics in our prelims marks booster class. In ClearIAS prelims marks booster class, this topic was identified as a very important question. The functions of RBI, okay, who can avail it, who are all applicable, what are the rules applicable, everything. Okay. So first statement is actually wrong. LAF liquidity adjustment facility is applicable only to scheduled banks. Okay. And first statement, NBFCs are not actually not eligible. So eliminating one, we have A and C gone. And in India, foreign institutional investors can hold the government securities. This is a factual statement. Now you want to know whether 2 is correct. 3 is obviously correct. Only B and C, D remains. Recently, how I cracked this question is that recently, this is the logic I am discussing. Recently, there was a discussion on green boards. There was a discussion on green boards. Government released green boards was in discussion. And the discussion, the news had actually some sentences regarding how foreign institutional investors can make use of G6. Sorry, green boards. How foreign institutional investors can make use of green boards. And those green boards in news were actually by government securities, where the government released the green boards. So obviously, foreign institutional investors can access a set of government securities. So this statement cannot be wrong. So 2 is also correct, and the answer is 2 and 3. I don't know exactly whether G6 can be bought by foreign institutional investors. The only way I answer this question is I had read the news regarding green boards, which were actually released by the government. And in that news, there was a slight statement, some kind of discussion where foreign institutional investors can access now more green bonds from the government. That means automatically a corollary is that FIIs can actually have access to government securities. Whether it is green bonds or not, it's not a question here. So second statement is obviously correct. So the answer is 2 and 2. 1 is wrong. Okay. In India, which of the following can trade in corporate bonds and government securities? Which of the following can trade in corporate bonds and government securities? This seems like a factual question. Insurance companies, pension funds, retail investors. Most of you aspirants might have no confusion regarding corporate bonds. No, because corporate bonds can be bought by anyone, right? And these three, even insurance companies, pension funds, and retail investors, they do not have any specific qualification or uniqueness that the government could actually block them from buying these corporate bonds. No. But with respect to government securities, you might have a question whether they are eligible for buying government securities. But there is no such restrictions on anyone. Okay. Government securities can be, both government securities and corporate bonds can be bought by all three. So the answer is 1, 2, and 3. Very simple question. Not exactly very simple question, but a certain thought process would actually guide you to the answer. Okay. Consider the following statements. Which of the following above are considered financial instruments? A very simple question. Go back to the basics. What is a financial instrument? A financial instrument is something where there is a transaction of finances. Money is being transacted. Not goods or anything, money is being transacted. A loan, a stock, these are all financial instruments. And motor vehicles is actually pretty wrong here. Motor vehicles is actually not a financial part of a financial instrument. So eliminating 2, there are 2 options. Currency swap, obviously, currency is being swapped. There is transaction of a financial instrument or financial entity. Obviously, the answer is 1 and 3. Very simple question. Go back to the basics. Just go back and read your NCERT fundamentals of physical geography. We have had our NCERT classes. We have a specific module. ClearIAS classes have a specific NCERT module where we have extensively discussed the most important NCERT textbooks, especially physical, economic geography, macroeconomics geography, not fundamentals. Macroeconomics class by NCERT. Go back and watch that video. Please subscribe to us for watching that video. In that we have had this discussion regarding financial instrument. Very, very simple question. Again, go back to the basics. With reference to the sectors of the Indian economy, consider the following pairs. There is economic activity sector. You have to just differentiate between primary, secondary, and tertiary sectors. Go back to economic geography basics. Go back to economic classes that I had taken the NCRTs. Very, very simple. Primary, secondary, and tertiary. How is the differentiation? First question, storage of agricultural produce. Storage, not agricultural produce. Here the picking point is storage. This tertiary, that is a service. There is no conversion of a raw material into product, or there is no harnessing of a raw material. Simple service of storage. That is tertiary. So this is wrong. Dairy farm, obviously primary. Obviously primary, no doubt. That. Mineral extraction, again wrong. It is primary. Natural resources are directly harnessed. In this dairy farm, natural resource, biological resource from a cattle or something, that is actually directly used, primary. Weaving through, something is converted into a product. A raw material is converted into a cloth, that is secondary. So the answer is only two. Very, very simple question. Go back to the basics, go back to the basics. Go back to NCRT. Okay. Again, go back to the basics. This is the very thing that I had discussed in the economic class. Again, in the ClearIAS economics class of NCRTs, we had covered this stuff with reference to physical capital in the Indian economy. Consider the following pairs. So you have to just differentiate between working capital and fixed capital. Very simple. Farmer's cloud, it is a fixed capital because it is not used up in the production. That capital is not used up in the production process. Computer, again fixed capital. Correct. Yarn used by the weaver, petrol. Yarn used by the weaver. It is not a fixed capital. Yarn is actually used by the weaver to weave. So that is being used up. That is temporarily used. So that is a working capital. So these two are actually wrong. Then petrol. Petrol is actually being used up. It is in the continuous process. It is a working capital. Again, this is correct. Only two. The answer is B. Very simple question. Go back and read your NCRTs. Or subscribe to our NCRT classes where you could actually see this discussion taken by myself in the economic class. Very, very simple question. And I had mentioned that UPSC could ask simply questions regarding differentiating between working and fixed capital. And yes, UPSC has asked such a question. Okay, so go back and read your NCRTs. With reference to rule or rules imposed by the Reserve Bank of India. Again, a topic identified as very significant. Reserve Bank of India creating foreign banks. Consider the following statements. There is no minimum capital requirement for holding on bank subsidiaries in India. This is the wrong statement. There is an initial capital requirement of $5 billion. 5 billion rupees. There is an initial capital requirement of 5 billion rupees. Okay, so this statement is wrong. This is a factual question. If you know, you can answer. For holding on subsidiaries of India, at least 50% of the board members should be Indian nationals. So according to the RBI press statement, it should either be Indian nationals or PIOs, persons of Indian origins or NRIs. So from my part, it should not be necessarily Indian nationals, it could be PIOs or NRIs. Okay, so either the answer is D. If this statement is given as correct by UPSC, this could be the answer could be B. But from my understanding, from my reading of RBI statement, there is an option of PIOs or NRIs, need not be Indian nationals. And the definition of Indian nationals is not there anywhere. So this could be right. So the answer could be either B or D. Okay, not a very simple question. If you know, you know. It is a very difficult question. Next, with reference to corporate social responsibility rules in India, consider the following statements. First statement, CSR rules specify that expenditures that benefit the company directly or its employees will not be considered as CSR activities. For this, you need not have to have read about CSR in detail. No. Logically look at it. CSR, corporate social responsibility. If CSR is actually converted into something that benefits the company itself, how is that a social responsibility being what social responsibility being taken care of. No. So the first statement is obviously logically wrong. Next statement, CSR rules do not minimize specified spending on CSR activities. Yes, they actually mention a specified spending. 2%. 2% of the profit being harnessed in the past 3 financial years. That is the minimum spending that is required. 2%. So again, second statement is also wrong. So the answer is neither one nor two. Again, a very simple statement, logic plus a little bit of fact. One second. Statement one. Consider the following statements. If the United States of America were to default on its debt, holders of US Treasury bonds will not be able to exercise their claims to receive payment. Statement two, the US government debt is not backed by any hard assets, but only by the faith of government. So US Treasury activity, whatever happening in the US Treasury's activities, this actually has an impact on Indian economy as well. So that is why repeatedly UPSC has an interest in US Treasury, whatever US Treasury does. So that is why this question has happened. But this is more of a question on how United States Treasury bond system is work. It question explicitly does not have any connection to an application on Indian economy. But still, since US Treasury is important to us in the context of an impact on Indian economy, this question is being asked. Okay. So the question is, if the United States of America, here both statements are actually correct. Okay. Both statements are actually correct. US debt or the government debt is not actually backed by any assets. It is actually backed by only the trust on the US government. It is backed only by the trust on the US government. And as a result, this statement is wrong, right? And as a result, even if the USA is actually default on its debt, the treasury bonds holders they cannot claim their voice their claim to receive payments. So the answer here is A. Okay. Consider the following statements. Syndicated lending spreads the risk of borrower default across multiple lenders. The syndicated loan can be a fixed amount or lump sum of funds, but cannot be a credit line. A very factual question. You might have an understanding from the first statement. Syndicate. Syndicate means a group of things. Okay, so the borrower's risk is actually split. Okay, so there are multiple lenders. A syndicate is formed who is actually ready to converge together to lend to a person. So the risk of what economic toll or financial toll on the lender is actually reduced. Okay, so first statement could obviously be right from the term syndicate. But second statement is a bit factual. The syndicated loan can be a fixed amount of lump sum of funds, but cannot be a credit line. This is actually wrong. Only if you know this, you could actually get this answer correct. So statement 2 is actually wrong. So the answer is C. Yes, it can even be a credit line. Only if you know that you could answer this question. Otherwise, it is better to leave. Okay. Digital rupee. Current affairs, a very important innovation in Indian economy by the RBI. The digital rupee or e-rupee, RUPEE. It is a sovereign currency issued by the Reserve Bank of India in alignment with its monetary policy. Yes, it is a sovereign currency. Is it any different from cash? Rupee cash? No. Physical cash? No. It's the same. So this statement is correct. It appears as a liability on the RBI's balance sheet. Yes. Just like Indian currency, it is the same as Indian currency in the digital format. So just like Indian currency, the physical currency is actually a liability on the RBI. This is also a liability. Again, application of basic understanding of economics. It is insured against inflation in its very design. Is that so? No. If it is same as the physical currency, but only in digital format, as physical currency in what? Insured against inflation? No. That cannot be done. Digital rupee is not different from physical currency, except that it is in the digital format. It is same. So it is not insured against inflation in its very design. So third statement is obviously wrong. So third statement wrong means we have 3 options. 1 and 2 is obviously correct. So we are here to 2 options. Fourth statement, it is freely converted against commercial bank money and cash. Yes. It is the same as a physical money or a deposit in the bank. Money in the bank. Okay. So it is same. It can be equated. So they can be convertible. So fourth statement is obviously correct. Except that it is in a digital format. There is no difference from the physical cash that we hold as physical rupee we hold. Okay. So the answer is 1, 2, and 4. A very, very simple question. Answer is D. Moving on. India does not import apples from the United States of America. In India, the law prohibits the import of genetically modified fruit without the approval of the competent authority. India doesn't import apples from the United States of America. What a stupid statement. Can this happen? India does not import apples from the United States of America. This is wrong. India and US are one of the most, what? They are actually a very great trade partners. And India doesn't import American apples. That is actually a stupid statement. Logically incorrect, logically not correct at all. And American apples you can buy from the supermarket. If you go to a hypermart, there you can actually see American apples. Even if you don't know that apples are not imported from America, whether it is imported or not, when you go to the supermarket, you can see apples from America. So first statement is obviously wrong. First statement wrong means answer is D. So the answer is D, a very simple statement again. Okay. So that's it. Thank you all. So this is the basic discussion regarding environmental ecology and economy. Thanks to all. Please do watch, subscribe. Okay. So many questions, many topics we had that in our TCM batches, in our prelims marks booster classes. Topics identified were important, and questions have come from such topics into the exam from our prelims marks booster, our TCM class, our YouTube videos, everything. So please do subscribe to us, watch us. Please get back to us if there is any feedback from your part. Thank you. Have a nice day.